Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Monday edition of our Facebook Live online recovery support group. My name is Kelly Kirk, and I am in recovery for about six years now. So, welcome. I'm a peer support specialist in Richmond County, by the way. And let me read our quick statement that we read in the beginning, and then we'll get started. So, welcome to our Facebook Live online recovery support group, supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage and support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. We ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules and guidelines of this page. All recovery paths are welcome, and please feel free to share your questions or comments throughout the meeting. Hi, Shay. Yeah, I'm like a few minutes late, but anyways, I needed to do some research. But so welcome everybody. If you watch this later, or now, if you're on here now, please feel free to, put your comments if you want to add to the conversation, or you want to talk about something a little different, or you have like something that you want to speak on, with the topic. Just please feel free to type it in right there and I'll see it and acknowledge you. So today I thought we would talk about forgiveness and how to let go of negative emotions in recovery. So, as you guys probably know, all people have been hurt by someone at some point in their life. We all have, whether, you've been lied to, let down, cheated on, talked about, had tricks played on you, been used, abused, fooled, or left alone, or like betrayed by someone that you should have been able to trust, and all those things can leave you feeling hurt and angry and resentful, and it can make you feel worthless. It can make you feel this small. It can make you feel like you're not worth a shit. And it can make you feel, just it brings your self-esteem down. It just makes you feel like, my God, what did I do to deserve this? And it's really hard to deal with those. And a lot of times when it happens, it's, you're not expecting that to happen. And it hurts even more, just like the shock of what this person did to you. And this is a Facebook Live about recovery. So to tie that into recovery, it's like when you're having those terrible feelings of hurt and pain and anger, it's easy to pick up, drugs or alcohol and use those to just douse yourself and not have to feel that betrayal and that anger. And it feels really good at the moment, whether you get drunk or take a handful of pills or shoot up or smoke some meth or whatever you do. It's like you don't have to think about all those bad, negative, down feelings that always come up, and so it masks it, and it's an escape. It's an escape from reality. And I think for me, you know, I've been a drug addict for many, many years, recovering, but that's what it was all about for me, was escaping and having this new altered reality where, I could be under the influence like all the time. And that's what I was about. I was about always being under the influence, like every minute of every waking moment. I was never just without anything, and after so long of being medicated, it's like when you finally stop all that and you're just alone with your thoughts, all that pain and all those, episodes that you think about what happened to you and who this person or what this person did to you, it all comes right back up. You've been shoving it down and pushing it down. using for all those years, and as soon as you stop all the drugs, that stuff comes right back up, and it's raw, it's in your face like it just happened to you. And that's like the turning point. That's like the cornerstone of recovery, because if you don't deal with those your history, if you don't deal with your history in a healthy way, you're not going to make it in recovery. You have to be able to learn how to deal with and compartmentalize those things that happened to you in your past. Yeah, it is scary, Shay. It's scary because those are strong emotions. Someone that, for instance, that you loved, or a parent or your husband or whoever, you're supposed to be able to trust that person, and when they hurt you, it hurts deep, and that's a really strong, those emotions just overtake you, and you're just consumed with pain and anger and hurt, and it's really hard to resist masking all that. You know that the drugs will mask it. You know you can escape for a minute. So it's really easy to just do it. It's harder to do the right thing and deal with those feelings and move past them so you can be happy. It was easy for me to take the easy way out and just medicate, 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 and not have to face my real reality, but if you don't deal with them in a healthy way, you're probably not going to make it in recovery. And the best way to do that, like for me, and I'm not an expert, but I'm older. I've got 3 children. They're older, and I've been married and divorced twice. I've lived all over. I've moved many times, and I've been through a lot, and that's where I'm speaking from. But for me, the best way to handle all my past and all the trauma and everything, is to think about them differently, and most importantly is to forgive the people that hurt you. And, that can be like, people might be like, well, you don't understand what happened to me, or you don't understand what they did to me. There's no way I can forgive them. I'm not forgiving them, and but the truth is, by not forgiving people, you're actually hurting yourself, because when you hold on to that pain and you relive all that stuff, and you allow it to keep hurting you, that's something that's hurting you. They don't care anymore that you're hurting. They're out there, living their life, doing whatever. They're not even thinking about you, and you're sitting there brewing, and reliving and hurting, and it's like, it's better, you know to just let that go and just make a decision that you're going to let it go. And it's such a relief when you do that, because you're not punishing them by holding on to that anger. You're punishing yourself. The people who hurt you, they don't care that you're still mad, and they're actually, in a way, still controlling you when you sit and think about, all the things they did and how bad it hurt, and how you want to get revenge, and, how upset you felt and how upset it made you. And so the best thing to do really is to make a personal decision to just forgive them. And when you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It absolutely does not mean that what they did was okay. It's more like you're releasing the anger and the resentment so that you can be free from it. And when you make a decision to do that, it gives you peace. It's like, I remember for me, you know, um, I hated somebody for years, and it was a long story. It was like a terrible thing, this whole thing that went on, but I ended up hating this person, and I hated them really bad, and I would think about it all the time. my stomach would get tight and I would feel warm, and I was just like harboring this anger and this resentment, and it was affecting me. It was affecting my emotional health. It was affecting my thinking. I couldn't really be happy because I had this resentment I was harboring all the time. And this went on for years until I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I cannot keep hating this person. It's taking a toll on me, you know? And I just made a decision, you know what? I'm just going to let all that go. I'm just going to let that go, and I'm going to move on, you know? And right away I felt better. You know, right away I started to feel some peace. And I think it does take practice. I think you do have to practice forgiveness, and you learn it, and it takes time, but you can feel the release when you let go of what happened. But anyway, I got off track. Let's see. Yeah. It also helps to think about the fact that what the person did, it probably, you know, it was that they did it to you. But if you think about that person, you know, and their choices in life and their upbringing and the things that have happened to them, it's probably not a big surprise that they turned around and did it to you. You know, and a lot of times, like for me, when I think about this person I was talking about, I can see how he did that. I can see his thought process. I can see, you know, where he was coming from. And even though it wasn't right and he took it way too far and did all this crazy stuff, you know, it's just better for me to just forgive it and just let it go and move on and have peace about it. And you know, and just let that forgiveness, let the grip that the whole situation had on me loosen and just release. And forgiveness can also lead to feelings of understanding and empathy and compassion for the one who hurt you. I mean, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what they did to you, but it can bring a kind of peace that helps you to go on with your life, you know? I'm referring back to my notes. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Hang on, sorry. Okay. So that was basically my what I had to say on the forgiveness and the letting go of hard feelings and bad feelings. And then I also printed out an article on this because it had some good pointers and had some good tips and benefits and stuff like that. So it's called Forgiveness, Letting Go of Grudges and Bitterness. It says, what are the benefits of forgiving someone? Letting go of grudges and bitterness can make way for improved health and peace of mind. Forgiveness can lead to healthier relationships, improved mental health. Yeah, Shay, you do that. And break the chain. Break the chains. Improve mental health, less anxiety, stress, and hostility. I know for me, I was not a happy person right after all that stuff happened, and I was really, really mad and angry and resentful and thinking about how I was going to plot my revenge against this person. And yeah, I was not in a good place. I was not, there was a lot of hostility and stress, and nobody really wanted to be around me because I was just so mad, you know. Um, Benefits of forgiving someone: stronger immune system, improved heart health, improved self-esteem. The next question is, why is it so easy to hold a grudge? Being hurt by someone, particularly someone you love and trust, can cause anger, sadness, and confusion. If you dwell on hurtful events or situations, grudges filled with resentment, vengeance, and hostility can take root. That's a good way to say it, take root. Because I feel like that's exactly what happened to me in the example I gave is I took what happened to me and I took it into my soul and I took it into myself and I let it take root in me. And it grew and it grew and it grew and it took over. It took me over until I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just ripped it out by its roots and let it go. So I like the root analogy. Um, if you allow negative feelings to crowd out positive feelings, you might find yourself swallowed up by your own bitterness and sense of injustice. Some people are naturally more forgiving than others, but even if you're a grudge holder, I like that, a grudge holder, almost anyone can learn to be more forgiving. What are the effects of holding a grudge? Probably nothing good. If you're unforgiving, you might bring anger and bitterness into every relationship and new experience. Become so wrapped up in the wrong that you can't enjoy the present. Become depressed or anxious. Feel that your life lacks meaning or purpose, or that you're at odds with your spiritual beliefs. Lose valuable and enriching connectedness with others. Yeah, and speaking of being at odds with your spiritual beliefs, like for me personally, I'm a Christian, and it says in the Bible that you have to forgive others if you want to be forgiven. And I mean, a sin is a sin is a sin. Whether you murder somebody or lie, you either are a sinner or you're not. And if someone sinned against you and you know that you've sinned against others, well, you can't expect God to forgive you if you're not going to forgive your fellow man. That's how I look at it anyway. So, yeah. How do I reach a state of forgiveness? Forgiveness is a commitment to a personalized process of change. To move from suffering to forgiveness, you might recognize the value of forgiveness and how it can improve your life. Identify what needs healing and who needs to be forgiven and for what. Consider joining a support group or seeing a counselor. That's a good idea. Talk it out. Acknowledge your emotions about the harm done to you and how they affect your behavior and work to release them. Choose to forgive the person who's offended you. That's pretty obvious. Move away from your role as a victim and release the control and power the offending person and situation have on your life. That's true. I mean, as long as you are the victim and you're looking at yourself as the victim, you'll never get your power back. The person hurt you, you got over it, you got to let go of that and get your power back and move on. As you let go of grudges, you'll no longer define your life by how you've been hurt. You might even find compassion and understanding. Okay, the last question. No, there's a couple more. What happens if I can't forgive someone? Forgiveness can be challenging, especially if the person who's hurt you doesn't admit wrong. If you find yourself stuck, practice empathy. Try seeing the situation from the other person's point of view, which that's something I did too. I thought about how it must have been for them and the fact that everybody makes mistakes. And one of my favorite quotes is, hurt people hurt people. You know, people that have been hurt tend to hurt others and they just pass it down. So it's like, if the person that's been hurt doesn't pass it on, then they're breaking the chain. But more than likely, like Shay said, you got to break the chain somehow. Let's see. What happens if I can't forgive someone? Forgiveness can be challenging. I already said that. Hold on. Does forgiveness guarantee reconciliation? If the hurtful event involved someone whose relationship you otherwise value, forgiveness can lead to reconciliation. This isn't always the case, however. Reconciliation might be impossible if the offender has died or is unwilling to communicate with you. In other cases, reconciliation might not be appropriate. Still, forgiveness is possible. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if the person wants to continue to hurt you, then obviously, you don't want to like go running back to them. You want to keep your distance. But if you can make amends and try to, you know, get past it, you'll have peace and you'll be happier and you won't be holding on to that anger. Um, what if the person unforgiving doesn't change? Getting another person to change his or her actions, behavior, or words isn't the point of forgiveness. Think of forgiveness more about how it can change your life by bringing you peace, happiness, and emotional and spiritual healing. Forgiveness can take away the power the other person continues to wield in your life. And I think that's pretty much like what I was talking about earlier. What if I'm the one who needs forgiveness? This is a good one because I think we all do. The first step is to honestly assess and acknowledge the wrongs you've done and how they've affected others. Avoid judging yourself too harshly. If you're truly sorry for something you've said or done, consider admitting it to those you harmed. Speak of your sincere sorrow or regret and ask for forgiveness without making excuses. Remember, however, you can't force someone to forgive you. Others need to move to forgiveness in their own time. Whatever happens, commit to treating others with compassion, empathy, and respect. And I think that's another important point in recovery. And it's part of the 12-step program, making amends. Um, I think we've all done things we regret and said things and done things that we wish we hadn't. And I think it is important in recovery. If something's bothering you that you did to someone or you said to someone, go ahead and try to, say, look, I'm really sorry. I feel really bad about what happened and I hope you'll forgive me. And, hopefully they will forgive you. It may take time, it may take time for them to forgive you. Like for me, you know, some of my family members weren't speaking to me when I first got into recovery. And that was hard. That was really hard for me. And I had to live with that. And I kept trying to knock on the door, and poke them and, remind them that I'm still here and I love them and I'm sorry. And eventually, when they saw that I was changing and that I was different now and I was serious, they forgave me, and so I think forgiveness goes both ways. It's important to forgive people, and it's also important to receive forgiveness, If I could turn the freaking page. I think that's all pretty much everything I had today. I know it's kind of short, but I think the last thing I'll say is that for me, forgiving other people and not holding on to resentment and anger and stuff is just a good way to live because like for me it feels really good to be able to lay down at night and know that I don't hate anyone and know that I see people for who they are and that no one's perfect. And if someone did something to me, I might be mad for a little while, but I'm not mad like I used to be. I used to really take stuff personally and take offense. But I'm learning, I'm getting wiser. And I know now that people are people and hurt people. And everybody doesn't always say the right thing. And not to take things personally and that it's more important in life for me to have peace and to try to get along. And of course you can't please everybody, but as long as you try to do your best and be polite and honest and and tell it like it is and be nice and that's all you can do. I mean, just try to have peace and work out those things that were causing you to use in the first place. That's so important. But thank you, Shay. Thank you for being there for me, Shay. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in and have a great day. Bye.